Okay, so the people who are unemployed are miserable, and then the people who are employed are also miserable. So what are we supposed to do?
My life is a fucking joke, bro. All I ever do is eat, sleep, and work, and I'm still hungry, tired, and broke. Like, what the
It's going to get to the point, if this doesn't slow down, that it's going to be unaffordable and unincentivized to drive to work. And you have essential workers who are spending $100 on a tank of gas, $50 on a tank, more than they're used to. And I don't want to hear you say, oh, well, then just get a better job. They already have the better job. They're already the ones making $40+ an hour. How are people on 20, 15 doing this?
I mean, the really crazy times that we are living in is being a person who is working full time, some having multiple jobs and still struggling, still being in survival mode, like like someone who doesn't have a job, still being the same. This is the life we live in. They tell you, are you broke? Go get a job. You get a job and you're still broke. You ain't got shit. We're going to be checking out some rants videos, but before we get right into this video and check them out, please make sure you click the like button. It helps the algorithm and I appreciate that so much. Let's get right into this video.
Some lady got on her page and said living paycheck to paycheck isn't poverty. Yes, the fuck it is. Like, what do y'all be talking about? Yes, the fuck it is. It's definitely poverty in America.
I really don't blame people for not having a will to live, not having a will to work, not having a will to do whatever, especially in this society. Like, look around you. Why would anyone be happy with the current system that we are in? A lot of people like to call my generation lazy, say that they don't want to work, but there's no incentive anymore. Back then, you could be working a minimum wage job and still afford to feed a family. Now you can't even afford to feed yourself. So it's just like, what the is the point? You know what I mean? Like, I feel like a lot of us are just so tired of living in a society that does not see our worth, that does not see our value, that does not, just like, we're not getting the fruits of our labor, essentially. It's all just labor. And I'm 21 years old. I'm in school. I know that I'm going to have a good career. However, I do not blame people younger than me who are still in my generation or even Gen Alpha just not having a will to try in school, because it's just like, bro, like, what are we even trying for at this point, And it's just like, I know I tell you guys to have a positive outlook and to have a positive mindset, which is what I'm working on, but it is so hard to work on having a mindset when your society reflects the opposite. Let me know what you guys think.
I'm not here to compare my situation to anybody else's situation, because at the end of the day, we are all struggling, especially in this economy. And although my situation is not as worse as anybody else's, it still is a struggle. So again, it's not about the comparison, because in this economy, the overwhelming majority of us working class people are struggling. And I am one of the millions of healthcare workers who's living paycheck to paycheck. I want to give clarity on a couple of things. You can make a lot of money in healthcare, but it comes at a cost. I wanted to hop in and be a part of the conversation that Casanova started about truthful disclosure about your finances in this economy. Some of y'all gonna be like, you make good money. I do. But when I look at my check as a healthcare worker, I'm lucky if I get half my check after federal taxes have been taken out, after state taxes have been taken out, after my retirement has been taken out, after all of the shit that they charge me a la carte on my insurance, my vision, my supplemental disability. I barely get a little bit more than half my check. And it's a lot of people in healthcare that make well above minimum wage like I do that are still living paycheck to paycheck. And I'll be very honest. I owe the IRS about $20,000 in back taxes, almost $20,000 in back taxes that I give them a payment for every month. I have credit card debt. I have a car note, and I still have a small balance on my student loans, but it's still debt. I live in DC. And living in DC is not cheap. And I make well above minimum wage. And even though I'm not struggling to pay my rent, And the only reason why I'm not struggling to pay my rent is because I took my time to find something that I knew I could pay without struggling. But I don't live in a luxury apartment. I don't live in no extremely safe, nice, clean neighborhood. The neighborhood that I just moved to is pretty decent. My apartment is more than decent, and my rent is only $12.50 in DC, but Southeast DC. That comes at a cost. And the only reason why I'm saying all this is because with all the stuff that we are being taxed on, the cost of living, it's crazy. And I see why people crash out. Because you got to go to work and you have to put up with all the frustrations of dealing with what you have to deal with at your job. And then when you get your check, the overwhelming majority, if not all of your check, goes to bills, meaning cost of living. And I have definitely made my mistakes when it comes to my financial literacy has not been the best, like most Americans. So to all you motherfuckers that want to get on here and try to be like, oh, you should know better, you should know better. The overwhelming majority of Americans don't have good financial literacy. That's why so many of us are in debt. But that still doesn't mean that the cost of living does not need to be motherfucking addressed. Because I work hard for what I have. Like right now, I got a stack of tickets that I haven't paid because I don't have the money for it right now. Every time I turn around, I get a ticket in the mail. Even is that the cost of living isn't just your rent. It's gas. It's the cost of living. It's the cost that you have to pay if you take public transportation. Insurance is sky high in DC because you don't have a lot of parking spaces in DC. So you have to park on the street and they tax the fuck out of you for, regardless of if you have a good record or a driving record. And I don't have a bad driving record. I don't. But like I said, I got a stack of tickets that they keep sending me. And the tickets that they sending me ain't $20 or $30. 70, 100, 150. And then if you don't pay the motherfucker in 30 days, they double it. In this fucking economy. And at the end of the day, they still have systems in place to keep you down even when you make good money. So like I say, even though my struggle is not as bad as some people, it still is a struggle. And at the end of the day, our system is broken and it needs to be fixed. That's it. That's all. Bye.
You know what I realized after going through absolute hell last year with everything that was happening with my old car, with my license being suspended multiple times for just the most stupidest stuff, and multiple tickets, having to pay fees and tickets and reinstatement fees, and going just hell. One of the things that I realized is that when I actually looked at the things that they were charging me for and the things that were on my list of fees and shit that needed to be paid, the government, they don't need the money. They don't need the money. They need you to need the money. They need me to need the money. They need us to need the money. Like I was watching the Age Disclosure series that's kind of been going on by Casanova Brown, and he's expressing like how he's going through this bank levy from the IRS. You know how they're taking his freezing up his accounts and taking all his money. And the thing is, they do that kind of stuff and they don't need the money. They don't need to levy your account. They don't need to freeze up you. They don't need to garnish your wages. They don't need anything. What they need is for you to be in fight or flight mode. They need you to be desperate. They need you to be a servant. They need you to be in constant panic and fight or flight mode so that you can go out here and work like a crazy person. Never have peace of mind, never be able to really truly own who you are and own your own life. Because as long as you're in desperation mode, you're always going to be out here searching, looking for something else to do. You're always going to be distracted. Because the thing is, money is actually not even real. It's just numbers on the screen. It's just pieces of paper that we give value to. We make the value. The value is us. The value is in our attention. The value is in our energy. We are the value. We are the money. Not the numbers that are on the screen. But see, we're forced into this system from the time that we're born. It literally just indoctrinated to continue the same cycle, and it's making everybody miserable. And the pressure is getting more and more and more because they do stuff like this on purpose, where they put you in these positions where you're desperate, you need more money, you don't have enough. They jack up the prices on everything, they stagnate the wages, they do things like this on purpose to keep us stressed, depressed, and really, just generally speaking, just continuing to work as their slaves.
I, as an adult, cannot live the same quality of life that I lived when I was a kid. And for some reason, people try to convince me that I shouldn't be upset by that. And it's not like I grew up wealthy. We were a family of 6, and my mother was a stay-at-home mom for years. So my dad, who worked at a fucking car factory, was able to support our house, his wife, and 4 children. And again, we weren't wealthy, we weren't doing anything super extravagant, but we could go out to restaurants pretty frequently. We could visit our family in other states by driving on a frequent basis. We had money to still live lives, just nothing crazy. And like growing up, of course, I wanted to be able to have that kind of life for myself. You know, take a vacation maybe once a year, maybe a bigger one if I wait a year in between. I can't go on vacation. I don't have money for that shit. I want to be able to own a house. Never gonna have money for that. I don't even have enough money laying around to go to restaurants most of the time. Like, I am a grown adult. I work full time in the career field that I have a degree in and that I have over 6 years of experience in. I should be able to afford to live a pretty basic life. And I can't, and neither can anyone else. And just because that is the way things are right now, doesn't mean I have to accept it. Doesn't mean that I have to be okay with it.
The economy's so bad right now. It's so horrendous right now that now it's expensive to even start a job. Even starting a job is expensive now. Back in the day, if you needed a uniform, some steel-toe boots or something, they provide you with it, and they just take it out your first check, the money. Now, 2026, if they provide you with the uniform, you got to pay for that bitch first. Ain't no reimbursement going on. We ain't letting you borrow no money, none of that. The jobs ain't even letting you borrow money no more, nigga. If you want to start here, you want to work here, you have to buy the uniform first. We is not lending you nothing until you get paid. Like, that's how bad the economy is right now. And then on top of that, I remember when you could apply for a job today, orientation tomorrow, start that bitch the day after that. Now you apply for a job, you got 4 interviews, and you're waiting 3 months to start. Hell, you be broke as hell at home by the time they start you on a job now. The economy done changed.
I'll literally never shut up about this shit because it doesn't make sense. I make $11 more than the minimum wage from my state. I make $16 more than the federal minimum wage across the United States. And it still is not enough to afford an apartment on my own. And if I can afford an apartment on my own, it will take every last dollar out of my fucking paycheck each and every month. It will take every last dollar to be able to afford to do that and pay for groceries and save up for car maintenance and emergency fund and whatever the fuck I need money for. It will take every last dollar. There will be no room for fucking actually living life. And I make $11 more than the minimum wage. Minimum wage, if I might remind you, was created to kind of relinquish some of the minimum wage, in case I need to remind you all, was literally created during the Great Depression to create a base rate that you can pay your employers to reduce exploitation, to reduce poverty, and to increase consumer buying power during the Great Depression. What we are living in right now is something 10 times worse than the Great Depression. And it is literally being thrown in our, like, we see it, bro. It is literally, we are being paid double and triple the amount of the federal minimum wage, and it is still not enough to live on your own comfortably. And then on top of that, we have women out here, I'm speaking that from a man perspective, we have women out here that will look at a man or look at this video right now and they'll be like, I don't want to be with him because he's broke. Brother, we live in a time so fucking bad now that women have to start working. It's not optional. Women don't get to choose anymore. Oh, I want to be the stay-at-home, or I want to do that. No, women actually have to start working because of how terrible it is out here trying to live on your own. You literally have to, there is like, bro, nobody can fend for themselves out here making the minimum. The minimum was supposed to be put in place so that we can still afford basic necessities of life. That's literally the fucking point. We are literally supposed to be able to afford the basic necessities of life, and motherfuckers are still homeless. Motherfuckers put in 40 to 60 hours a week and are still can't afford an apartment, let alone a house. Forget a fucking house, an apartment, bro. So here's what's going to happen. I do not give a shit no more, bro. I don't care, bro. I'm going to sit here and I'm going to take what money I make, bro, and I'm going to do whatever the fuck I want with it, bro. I'm going to do whatever the fuck I want. I want to get that meal, bro, from that fast food meal, or I want to go and eat something nice one day. I'm going to fucking do it. I don't give a shit. I want to make a mod on my car and always have the cool little toy car that I've always wanted since I was a kid. I'm going to fucking make it into that. I don't give a fuck about what am I doing this for. We doing all of this shit just to have no time for ourselves, not be paid enough to enjoy the fruits of our labor, and then to possibly just die one day randomly from overstress, overworking, and then not being worth a damn. Fuck out of here, bro. I'm over it. Like, am I tripping, bro? Please, bro. I need someone to tell me that I'm not tripping because this shit drives me crazy.
It's absolutely exhausting to be living this way. I swear to God, it's exhausting. I think before we used to be excited about, payday. Like most times when people got paid, you be seeing a lot of people go to the store. Like you see people go to the restaurant, eat out. When people got paid, that time, that Friday now. Like, I mean, a lot of people, you'd kind of sense that, people got paid then. People are not even excited. I genuinely think a lot of people are no longer excited about payday anymore. Like, because it's not exciting. Because none of that really, you don't have nothing to dispose. Like there's no disposable income. You would say, thank God. Like right now, it's even a flex for you to say, oh, I paid all my bills. Everything is paid. It's a flex. Even when the person has nothing left over in their account, they have no savings, nothing, it's a flex.
So sick of this shit. I have no quality of life. I somehow allow people to convince me that, a good life and a successful life is owning a home, owning a car, having this career and, taking a student loan to, advance that career, only to find out that when you do all of these things, you become a slave. You acquire all these material things that the bank owns, and all you do is live with the debt of trying to pay for it. And when you realize you have no quality of life, this is May. It is so freaking cold outside, and you can't get to enjoy your life. So even the things that you're buying to say, yeah, I've accomplished these things, you're not getting a chance to enjoy because you live in people's workplace. You're like a slave to this thing. It's the worst, and you're not enjoying your life. And you're surrounded by all these bills and more bills, and you realize that somebody tricked you into thinking that borrowing money from the bank to buy a house and borrowing money to buy a car and all these things only make you stuck in the matrix. I'm annoyed. I am so sick of it. And at the end of the day, you get sick and you're not living any quality of life. Now, if you want to leave from wherever you are in the world to come and experience this, I'm not going to tell you to stop. I'm just sick of it. I'm sick of living in Canada. I'm sick of feeling like, I need to be released from this bondage. And I'm not alone. And it has nothing to do with color or creed. It has a lot of people are living here in Canada and they feel like a slave. They're not enjoying their life. They're miserable. And some people can't even escape because guess what? Financially, they're not able to get out of their situation. And when they tell you, purchasing a home, one of the biggest, achievements in life, you find out that, listen, all it does is keep you in bondage. I'm so sick of it. And freedom from me means an escape from living like this, where you have the illusion of success and all you do is not enjoy life. When you live here, June and July before you kind of see, like, you know, the sun comes out and you're warm, and you only have a few months and before you're back to it. I'm sick of it. So I'm not telling any Jamaican, and I'm not telling anybody, because they always mistake when you complain. And for those of you who are going to come and say, why don't you leave? I'd love to. And sometimes it's not that easy. When you get to my age and you put in so much time and you work hard to achieve certain things, and when you see it slipping through your hand, if you don't stay on the plantation, it is very scary. So you end up staying longer than you should. I'm sick of this life. Canada is not the place it used to be. Canada invite all of these immigrants into this space, you know, and before you know it, people who have been here paying taxes for decades are left in the side, even though they have worked hard. And people who never contributed nothing, they come here, you know, bring them, take the jobs from the people who are already here for decades and paying taxes. And now, you know, I feel sorry for myself, and I feel sorry for all the other people who have done all the work and now should be benefiting. In Brampton right now has the most people losing their homes. People who work sometimes 2-3 jobs. People who are doing everything to hold on to their shelter. It's a damn disgrace. And I just don't want to be the one to contribute to the illusion of being happy or this being that wonderful place. You're better off living somewhere in a one-room board house where you feel freedom and peace and not feel like a slave. So many people are dropping down in their workplace trying to hold it together, and I don't want to use the D word, but you know, never really getting to enjoy the things that they work for. People are coming out of retirement at 70. What kind of life is this? It is horrible. And then you got a small group of people who is benefiting from our suffering.
Can we have an honest conversation? What the hell is really going on right now? I am at a point in my life, I'm 32 going on 33 this year. I'm at a point where I have my career. I'm making life-changing money. Like, if this was me back in 2018, my God. But anyway, that's not the point. I make great money, but it doesn't feel like it. And I'm so confused. Like, this economy is so trash. And I don't want to hear anybody talking about, oh, you're living above your means, or you're not saving. Saving? Jesus Christ. Like, gas is almost $5 a gallon. Getting fruit at the grocery store is like $8. What did I see for $8 the other day? Was it grapes? It was something. And I was just like, I just feel like y'all not mad enough. Like, I feel like I am being ripped off. Like, I'm unmarried. I don't have kids. So, of course, there's no benefit to that. We don't get any tax breaks. We don't get nothing. America hates single people without kids. Let's just say that. But seriously, something has got to give. Like, I am so tired. I'm tired of this. How are y'all doing it? I feel like no matter how much money you make, we all just trying to survive right now. Golly.
And what if I said that my soul is tired and I no longer want to participate? What if I said that all of this means nothing, and that watching the way that, like, our world leaders and the economy and generational wealth being hoarded by the top 10%, like, what if I say that I don't want to take part in a system that is ultimately not, like, for humanity, but for personal greed and selfishness? And why is it, like, radical for me to even say that? Why is it automatically lazy for me to want to just opt out?
So I work in payroll. This is a real life example of how big wage gaps are in America right now. This is a real example. There's an employee that make $8 an hour, which is fucking criminal. That means their 2-week paycheck, $640. Their annual salary, $16,000. Another employee, $30 an hour, 2-week paycheck, $2,400, annual salary, $62,000. The CEO makes $1.3 million. That means every fucking 2 weeks, they make $50,000. Do the math, they make $625 an hour. So the CEO makes what this person makes in a year in 3 days. The CEO makes what this person makes in a year in 12 days. It will take this guy 2.5 years to make one of their paychecks. It will take this person 10 months to make one of their paychecks. That's America. This guy's dirt fucking poor. Paycheck to paycheck. Fuck you.
People have been living paycheck to paycheck for a while now. But the fact that evictions are becoming more common, it's just that bad because you have people saying they only pay $1,000, $1,100 to $1,200 in rent and they're being evicted. Let's just shoot it straight, right? The pay doesn't match the economy that we're living in. It gets to a point where you could take all the budgeting classes, hear about all the financial advice, but you just can't do something with nothing. God can carry you through. Don't get me wrong. Pray about it. Sleep on it. He's going to always show up for you when you need him. But you just cannot budget your way out of poverty. You can't manage finances that you don't even have. People are real deal struggling, and so it leaves them with the option of relying on family members. And here's the thing with that. They go live with family members, and then people who are also struggling or who are barely above water trying to live their life, they sometimes get upset because they also don't want the burden of having grown adults with sometimes even children, multiple kids, coming to live with them, and they're not able to pay anything in rent. They're not able to help out on the bills because they don't make enough money. People are having to rely on villages that they don't have. Let's just be completely honest. That's why it's so hard for a lot of people. People with multiple degrees, certifications, a bunch of education just want any type of job just to stay afloat. They're no longer even concerned with fighting their way to the top to climb the corporate ladder to have the best job possible that matches the degree that they went to get. They just want a single job.
Because before you know, like once you get paid, everything's due. Your rent is due, your car note, electricity bill, internet bill, insurance, and you have everything taken and wiping away every single thing. And either way, you ain't got nothing. Or sometimes you even have to decide between if I should pay this or pay that because you can't pay both. You have to decide if rent is more important than you eating. We all know that there was a time where people are working full-time actually, or working a job meant you had some level of security, in your life. You felt secured financially. You were like, okay, you know what? At least I'm working. At least whatever happens in life, at least, I got some money coming in, but you ain't got nothing. But now things are so ridiculous. They cost so much that you got money coming in. It ain't yours. It's coming in, but it could barely pay anything that you gotta pay for. Like the most painful and fragile situation, or the fragile point of actually living paycheck to paycheck, is the fact that one emergency, because emergencies happen, like unexpected situations happen in everybody's life. When you are actually struggling with your expected expenses, you already know what you expect, but you're already struggling pretty badly with them. Maybe you're taking some debt to actually even try to adjust to them. Now you are dealing with unexpected. We're not accounting for the unexpected situations that could actually change or turn your life around to a whole. It could change the trajectory of your life and mess up every single thing. Like, that's already messed up, like, to begin with. So it could make it really, really worse. Emergencies happen, unexpected things, and God forbid your car breaks down because that thing that takes you to your job. You've made it to the end of this video. Thank you so much for watching this video to the very end. I really appreciate you. Please don't forget to click the like button. It helps with the algorithm and I appreciate that so much. Subscribe to the channel if you're new here and you're watching me for the very first time. Hit the notification bell to get notified every time I post a new video. I'll leave your thoughts in the comment section down below. I would love to see what you think about this video, and I'll see you on the next one. Bye.